Having trouble doing realistic hair? Stick around with us today and we're going to go over it. Well, hello! Welcome to Drawing with Fire. I'm Valarie, your neighborhood pyrography artist. You're in with hubby.
Hubcap.
And fur babies. And today we are doing dark curly hair and straight light hair. So we get to do both and pay attention to how everything goes. I'm going to be starting on the dark curly hair, and I'm going to be starting with the Optima Optima 18 extra small spear shader set on 3.5. So I'm going for a medium dark burn because we're going to start with the darks first and work our way back. Alrighty. So let's get zoomed in. Everything look and sound okay? Hey Andrea, hey Sheila. There we go. Hopefully the lighting's good enough so we can see what we're doing. Now you see circles in the background, that's next week's live. I decided I didn't want just a flat background, so next week we are going to do well, I did a workup in, let me find it, in Autodesk Sketchbook Pro on the tablet, and this is what I'm going for. So I'm going for a soft bouquet look, and that's because his hair is light, so he needs some dark around him, and her hair is dark, so he needs some more lights around her. And hopefully it'll come out interesting. So that's what I'm going for. That's what we're going to look at doing next week. So I've got half the hair blocked in, and this is just blocked in order for me to know where everything is at. That way I can start erasing as I go. But the first thing I want to do is put in darks. That way I've kind of mapped it out and I know what's going on. So we have a dark right here, and we are just going to get going. I'm going to turn the board. Now that looks too saturated. Remember, the light changes how the burning looks on camera because it's hitting the board first and then bouncing into the camera eye, so it looks different. But it is, when I pull out, you'll see that it is a basswood yellow. Huh, that's a new color term, basswood yellow. Just made it up. So I'm going to use my tip, that's the hardest part, to get my darkest part, and I'm going to drag out in the direction of how the hair is going. Now in the darks we can't really see how dark it is, but I know the hair, based on how I'm looking at everything else, the hair is going back and then curling forward or curling down. So I'm going to keep that in mind and keep going with it. So we need these darks. So I'm going to get those in. So right now I'm flat and dragging, and I'm doing it quickly. That way it's dark when I touch down, but as I drag, it lightens up. And this just gives more texture the way hair is. Alright. So now I need to find a different part, and the dark actually comes down. I'm looking at my sepia photo right now. The dark comes down to her glasses, so I'm just going to get that in. I'm actually going to change directions because the hair is going to start changing directions. Her glasses are here, and I'm going to start.
Sonia's here.
Hey Sonia. Dragging down. I'm going to do little strokes because it is a smaller area, but this gives me some leeway. We have to remember hair goes on top and underneath, so we have to keep that in mind. In fact, this actually comes out and we have more of the light hair coming down. So I'm going to turn my board. It's easier to turn my board than it is to stand on my head.
Spence is here.
Hey Spence. And I'm going to drag it down because that's the direction the hair is going. I may not be able to see the full direction because it's dark, but if I pay attention, even if I can't see it, it's not black. It really isn't. I know it kind of looks that way, but there's very few true blacks. Alrighty, so down by the ear, down here, and along her face, we have some darks in here, and like fabric, As long as it looks like hair, nobody's going to question that it's hair. So if you get something in a little bit of the wrong place from where you want it, nothing to stress out about. It's okay. So I'm going to touch down with the tip and then drag down, while also doing a bit of negative burning of the hair. I almost said fur. I almost said fur. But here's the thing. If you're working on fur, it's the same as hair. So even if you're not doing a portrait right now, the hair and the fur are the same in how you do it. Now we're not going to put every little strand in, because up close, or at this distance, we don't see every hair. We may see some flyaways off the side or into the face, but we don't see anything detail-wise into a specific hair. So we need to keep that in mind. If you sit there and put every hair in, it looks very stringy. And we don't want stringy hair unless that's what we're going for. So drag, touch down with the tip, and then go flat. That way it's the darkest at the base. The base is where we're going to get the least amount of light. And then it's going to lighten up as it comes forward. You won't see me using a skew for any of the hair. That is a personal choice. If you like skews, you'll have to really go over the hair multiple times in order to get groups of hair versus single hairs.
What's a skew?
What's a skew? That is, this is a skew. It's a really thin tip. But even if it's a little thicker, this is also a skew. They may look different, but it's that type of tip.
Oh, okay.
I very rarely ever use them. I really like my spear shaders for that. I get more control. I can use the edge. I can use the tip. I can use the base of the tip or the heel and get a good burn. Drag. And let it be lighter in some areas. Even if you're seeing darks, let it be lighter. Because that's what's going to give you the depth within the hair. Have some of those lights mixed in with the darks. So like here, I'm moving quicker. Pin control is your friend. The more time you spend with your pen and get...
I'm sorry, I didn't mean
Hey, bro. The more time you spend with your tips, with your pen, the more comfortable you will feel branching out and trying different stuff. If you don't experiment, you won't grow. So if you are feeling like your wood burning isn't where you want it to be, I highly recommend picking a subject that you think is cool, that's neat, but then make sure you get into the mindset of I don't care if it doesn't come out right. Because in that mindset, you will allow yourself to try different things. If you're working on a piece that you do care about and that you've gotten yourself so stressed over getting right, you won't try new things. And it won't come out how you pictured it.
It's true.
So I'm flat and I'm dragging. I have not adjusted my heat. But I do need to pay attention to the hair direction. Almost said fur again. Almost said it.
Morgan doesn't mind.
And all I'm doing is blocking in right now. Just trying to get the tones and direction.
It's snowing at Burles.
Yay. Oh, no, she don't like it.
No, she doesn't. Spence, Spence says he's not enjoying it.
He's burning. Not.
No, the snow.
Oh.
I don't know whether that means that he doesn't have snow or he has snow and he does not like it.
I don't know. I'm sure he'll let us know. So now I'm using more of the edge. And I can get a little bit more detail. Because right here, a little bit of the background starts coming through. So we do see a little bit more of individual hairs, but they're still in groups. Let's drag this down. I'm going to go ahead and bump down to 3 just so.
Sonia has 3 inches of sleet.
Oh, she's in Texas.
Well, it probably won't stick then. I don't know though. But sleet's bad because it turns into ice. So. Spence says, I'm not enjoying the snow. So apparently he has snow, he's not enjoying it. Okay.
So I'm more flat versus the edge. And I'm trying to, this might be easier. Excuse me. I'm trying to get the direction of the hair.
Spence says the hair is looking good.
Thank you. So I moved slower, or quicker here to go lighter. But I can always reshape later. Right now I'm just blocking in. And this block in allows me to erase, to clean up my board. And then be able to focus on the details. Now we have 2 different curls going on. This side is softer. So. Here I'm touching more down in the dark and then dragging back up, even though she's upside down. And remember with curls, where the curl starts, it's darker, and where the curl goes under, it's darker. In the middle is lighter. Of course, there's always, oops, that was dark. Yeah, that's okay. There's always going to be, what's the word I'm looking for? There's always going to be exceptions. But in general, so I'm dragging quickly. The direction of the hair. You can see that curls down, but this curl also goes under that. So just the tip and an angle side, tap it in. And it's always going to be a mess until it's not. You've got to stick with it. The light's coming from this side, so it is going to be lighter. Whether on the edges or where it's pushed out more in regards to where the light's hitting it. So like this side here is pushed out a little bit more. So that is why it's lighter in some areas.
I apologize. I'm going to be right back.
Mm-hmm. Alright, we are starting to get some hair in. Whew, I might have to put my hair up, get it out of my face. So let's do right here at the forehead because it's darker both with shadow and it's mainly the shadow because the hair is coming down, so it's mainly shadow under the hair. And then we always have those little baby hairs that are soft on our forehead right at our hairline. And then it goes back and up and curls. So right here it's darker, down here it's darker, but then in the middle it's lighter because that's where the light is hitting. So I'm going to touch down on my test board just to pull the heat. I'm going to be flat, and I'm going to go softly. So with being flat, it does create a softer burn versus the tip. And I'm going to drag in the direction. In some of the areas where it's lighter, I may not put any burn at all versus white. Am I still on the board? Yes, I'm still on the board. On the camera. And we're going to shape it. I'm moving quickly, trying to make sure I don't. I'm actually going to go down to 2.5 so I can get a, hey Joe Bell, bit softer, lighter burn. I can always darken it up. So we're going to drag. See, I don't have every hair. And I can go over an area and darken it. Knowing your burner, your pens, your tips makes the biggest difference. What they can do, how you should hold them, the heat settings. So I'm blocking these lighter areas. Bring it together because this part of the hair goes down. It goes across and down, so we have to bring it all together. Flip my board. We have a bit of a dark right here, so I can slow down my pen and use more of just the tip. It goes darker, and she has a lot of flyaways. I may not put the flyaways in until I have the background in, that way I can get the right tone. The more you can do your burning in layers will help. Going around. So this part is more straight. Hush phone. More straight. So I'm going to drag straight and then flat. And there's some areas that are burning a little darker because I'm angled just a scotch, just a little bit this way. And so I'm still hitting flat, but I'm getting an edge that's a little darker. My favorite for hair is just a drag, whereas when I'm shading, my favorite stroke is the oval flower petal. Let's see here. Thank you, Joe Bell. I don't know why. There we go. So right now that's too light, but it's better to be too light right now and darken it up versus being too dark and fighting to lighten it. So right here, it's hard to tell in the photo if this is a shadow on the face, if it's the soft hair. It's just harder to see overall. Go flat, drag into the space. Because in the end, it doesn't matter. As long as I get the shape right, it'll read the way it's supposed to. But see, now we're around the glasses, and you see how the glasses kind of disappear. So when I go to do final details, as the artist, I'll make a choice of what area I want darker. So that does need to go a little darker, but for now, we're good. I'll up my heat in a little while. For now, we're going to get the lighter areas in. Alright, so this part comes down. So I'm going to go right up against the base of that and drag down. It's not as curled, so I kind of need to have this more of a straighter stroke, because right here, that's what it is. The hair is a little straighter before it curves down. But you see how these are groups, they're not single hairs. When we switch over to Ezra's, it'll be the same way, actually. And then, so you put your groups of hair in first. And then if you see a little bit more detail here or there, that is where you can put some more definition of a hair. Right now, we're just blocking. This is going this way. It tends to be easier if you keep your pattern as simple as possible when it comes to hair. If you put everything in, you'll definitely lose your place. So keep your pattern simple. And remember, I'm also crossing the grain. So sometimes areas will be darker, but we can blend those in. Smooth it out because we see too many of the hairs. Looks like this is a little darker, so I'm just using the tip to block it in. And we start getting softer hair. Definitely needs to darken up like all over, but we're starting to get softer hair. Let's see here. The hair right here goes under the hair laying here, so we have to pay attention to that. So it's a little darker because this hair, let's see here, it might actually be easier to put this hair in first. Just quick, fast strokes, blending it together. And then we can put the underneath, and it might feel less confusing. Again, it's easy to lose your place. Moving very quickly, and I'm flat. This hair right here kind of curves a little bit. This is more going up underneath. So we can get a little bit of that. And then when we go to soften it, it'll read easier. And then to soften it, I'm actually going to go ahead and turn down to 2. Yeah, I'm going to be flat. And drag. Up here is actually a little darker. And bring it together.
Are you hot?
I am.
That's fine.
Why?
I don't know.
I keep scooching over. Let me get this back over here. Where's Dirty Santa? I haven't finished him, but Dirty Santa.
She might be talking about me.
Excuse me. You know what? I've been talking nonstop straight, so I'm going to very quickly spray my throat. I
had to get some. Here we get some Advil.
Oh, okay. Alrighty. Ooh, a little better. Listen to that. Listen to that.
Yeah.
That's some good spray. And it doesn't taste bad. It tastes like honey. There we go. I softened my voice.
Oh, so
I am not singing for you. Did I miss somebody? No, okay.
No, just Joe Bell came in while I was gone.
Yeah. All right. Let's move the board right about here. I'm going to camera. I think I move over this way because my head slowly is trying to get around the camera instead of just moving the camera, which would be much easier. Alrighty. So now I've bumped up to 3.
Hey, Roxy.
And I'm just trying to darken some areas. I'm flat and dragging.
Roxy, stop eating dirt. It's not good.
Alright. We are going to shape this. Wow, that really helped my throat.
That'll be nice.
Honestly, Tuesdays is when I talk the most throughout the day.
That's true.
I mean, I talk to you, but
Tuesday is
extra.
Yeah.
Alright, so drag this in because this part is darker.
Oh, you got a lot done while I was gone. I didn't think I was gone that long.
Yeah. Alright. Let's drag. I'm about to switch over to Ezra, but I just want to get some bangs in so we can see the difference with the lights and darks.
Yeah.
In fact, it's similar to the post that I made showing just by putting in the darks on the clothes that Jessica's shirt automatically lightened up.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything to lighten it, but because I got the darks in on his shirt, it lightened her shirt. Softening this out. So I have to darken some areas to get those highlights to pop out. Let's see. And this whole area needs to darken.
Oh, we had 10 watching. We're down to 6.
Oh, I made a decision while we're here, and I'm just doing the strokes over and over and over again, and yes, it goes over and over and over again. I made a decision on World Pyrography Month because there's 1 or 2 people who are interested in doing it. I don't want to not do it and leave them out. So I've decided to move it to March.
Okay.
I mean, I have to be honest, I was a little frustrated seeing that a lot of people didn't want to do it, but I want to help you grow. So I'm going to give them some time. Excuse me. And we will go from there. So I'm looking at March. Oops. See, when I go back and forth, then I get some blobs. But if I drag, it softens them up. Pulls them out. Getting that shape. So it'll be a matter of going back and forth, pulling and dragging. But we're getting there. Let me fix that. Now, we're going to switch over to blonde hair. And I'm going to bump down to 2. I'm not switching pins. I would say my 18 small, my 18 extra small are my most used tips. Majority of what's on the board, I use that tip. I have switched over to the large spoon shader just to like move quicker on the fabric. But overall, my main tips are the extra small and small. Okay, with Ezra, we have bright highlight right here. So we need to keep that into consideration. But then we have these darks that lay on top of or connect with the really bright bright areas. His hair, he's a blonde. So we do need to turn down our heat. Zoom in. There you are, stinker. And he is a stinker.
Andrea says, okay, March it is. And Sheila says, March is actually better.
Okay.
Given the circumstances.
Yes.
Oh, yep. She says, yippee.
Yay. Well, I wish I would have known that. I would have switched it sooner. I would have done it sooner. But this allows me to be able to do the desert wood carving show without stressing out, because I do have this piece to finish, grandma to finish, and the horse to finish to submit for the competition. And it allows me to breathe.
Yep, and if you're not stressing out, if you're able to breathe,
then you can breathe.
I am able to breathe, yes.
Okay, so I've lowered my temperature down to 1.5. But remember, this tip carries the heat differently. And I'm using more of the top half of the tip.
You just want pets.
And I'm dragging down in the direction. This part of the hair is coming more towards you. So it's shorter strokes. Shorter strokes give us the illusion of something coming more at us. So the more I put in those shorter strokes, the more it feels like shorter hair. Longer hair are longer strokes. So I have my ridge at the darkest. Let's see here. We have some hair going this way, down this way. This hair. Sorry, I'm trying to see my color reference just for detail. I don't have a way to... Excuse me. I'm going to put my color reference on my board and my sepia tonal reference off to the side, just so I can glance. The more I look at the photo, because of practice and doing it for so long, I don't necessarily always need my tonal reference. Alright, straight down strokes. Longer where it's longer. He got a haircut, so his hair looks completely different now. Excuse me. And dragging down. This right here is my stop line for where the darkest parts of his hair are. And right here, what I'm going to do is actually darken hers up a little bit so I don't lose his head, even though looking at my reference, tonal wise, that area is very similar because that's where the light's hitting. So I need to keep that in mind. And then it gets lighter, so I'm going to drag quicker in the direction. We got a little kink of curl, so I'm going to make more of an S stroke. Excuse me. Just to get that curl in there. And then this curls a little bit more. And if it's a little darker where I've touched down, that is totally fine. It just gives it more texture. Let's see here, this comes down more. So based on how I'm doing the areas that have less light, I see that I need to darken up areas that are further from the light and soften it up a little bit more. There we go. And my brightest areas are just where the light hits it on the tip. So this is where negative burning on his face is going to come into play. I'm going to have to burn. The hair is lighter than his face. So I need to take that into consideration. Where did I lose? It's right here. Oops. That's all right. It's all right. So I'm trying to do the strokes with the length of the hair. And that will make a big difference. But I can soften it up where the hair changes direction. Because right here we got a little bit of hair that's kinking up. And then pointing down. And then we got some hair going in this direction, so I can quickly drag in this direction. And you see how we start getting the shorter but filled in hair. So some of this is lighter. So it's going to be the same way as I did Jessica's hair. Grouping this together, following the direction. But I do need to break up some of these lines so it doesn't look like everything is uniform. So I got to keep that in mind.
That's true, because if you look at people's hair, very rarely, unless somebody is using like a lot of product and, you know, a comb, like, is their hair like completely parallel straight? And if you do that too much, it just looks fake.
Yeah.
You know, so the more irregular, the better, because that's what nature is.
Alrighty. So right here, some of this hair curls. Let's do some erasing. Get rid of some of the graphite in here.
I think that your decision to do the background is going to be really impactful here, not hair, because the value, the lighter value of his hair is going to contrast.
Yeah.
It's going to, you know, I think it's needed.
Hey, yep.
Of course it is. You said so.
Alrighty. So we're already getting some texture of hair. I'm actually going to switch over to the small because it's a thinner edge tip, meaning just when I'm using the edge is thinner than the extra small. So I'm going to switch over real quick. Oh, that's heating up. And while give my voice a break for a second, we're going to back out so we can see the actual burning. The hair is really bringing it together. I spent working on the hair and the shirt. I know I said 15 hours total for this to be done, so I worked 4 hours since the last live on this.
Okay.
So I'm cutting it close, but actually I'm going to up my guesstimate, because I am putting a background. Before, I was of the mindset I wasn't putting a background in. So that does change the time.
I guess.
Hey! That is the only fair thing to do.
I suppose.
So,
if you want to be fair.
well, because that wasn't going to be my original doing. So it's only fair.
Okay.
So for the background, I think you're right at 20 hours. All right. Oops. I went a little crazy there. You know what?
He's got a natural line in his... It's a line of contrast there anyway.
Not right here, but I can blend it. I'm not going to freak out.
Oh, I'm watching from 15 seconds ago. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I pulled down too much, but I think I can work it out.
Okay.
See, on his hair, you can see the shadow along his forehead.
Yeah.
And you notice I'm going in all different directions using the edge. And in order to get... So in doing more of the edge, it's because I'm using more of the edge of the pen, because right up here, we do have more defined sections of hair versus like back here. Let's see here. Turn this down. So I need to blend this so it's not as obvious on lines. Do a little bit more erasing. And remember, people aren't going to be looking at your reference in most cases. They're just looking at your burning. So if you know something's a little off, doesn't mean they will.
I think when I'm doing portraits, I think my hair is a favorite thing because of what you said earlier. Because hair moves, it's not static. So if you are a little off on something or it's not exactly right, it's fine because it just reflects the movement of the hair.
I'm not going to be able to clean off with denatured alcohol. I think until I'm separating this hair from his skin.
Wait, why?
Because it gives depth. So now that is standing out versus, and it's how the photo is.
I'm talking about the denatured alcohol.
Because I don't want to lose my circles.
Okay.
I mean, I can do more center, but I really don't want to.
That makes sense.
Although the circles are just drawn on with the template. So we have a little piece of hair. It's just out there. But it is getting hit by the light, which is why I've included it. If it was getting hit by the light,
well, he's got some unruly hair.
Yeah, he's got, and it's part of who he is. Oh, shoot. I'm going to bump down to 1 and blend out that. Oops.
I'm going to fix my unruly hair tomorrow.
There we go. Blend it out.
Gonna give me a haircut.
Okay. So his ear and the hair sitting right here on the ear is darker than his face.
Yep.
So I'm going to cut in, do a bit of negative burn to bring it together. And follow the direction. So underneath is Jessica's shirt. So I'm actually going to darken the area around it. Let's erase. And we are starting to get crazy 3-year-old hair.
It's amazing how much you've gotten done in this session.
Well, luckily,
That's incredible.
it helps that this is more drag versus. Let's bring that up. I've got a shadow here that's still. Go. Just trying to darken up. Do a bit of negative burning to shape. Because what's in the background behind the hair, especially in this way, does define it, help define it.
Mm.
So what I mean is, if there's little hairs separating, and the shirt shows through, like it is here, it does work with the hair. So this hair, you need to get more of the curve in. Or I can just take it out altogether. Let's see how it's reading. I may come back that and decide if I want to take it out. If it helps with the burning or if it kind of interferes, then it's worth, as the artist, deciding if you want to take it out. Because is a photo that nobody else sees. Me changing it makes no difference to the viewer.
Right.
But, well, that's not true. It may make it easier to read for the viewer.
Oh, Kathy's here.
Hey, Kathy. See, we see his head really blending in with her hair. If we look at our tone, we do kind of lose them together. She has lighter hair here. I can always scratch those out later. Hey, photo, stay. All right, go there. No, go here. There we go. Work with me. All right. So now that I have the shape, I can start darkening. And I'm actually, because I'm on the 18 small, I'm going to bump up to start 2.5. And start darkening. Especially at the crown of his head, because that's where the light is not hitting.
It's darkest up there.
Yep.
It's also the point of most contrast, which makes sense because it's the darkest. Shut up, Jason.
No. Not at all. So I'm going to go flat, kind of blur it out a little bit. Don't need to see every line.
Okay. And then that would, in your blurring it out a little bit, that's an artistic choice that you're making.
Well, because I don't want it to feel harsh.
But I guess the point I'm getting at is that you as an artist, you're making decisions like that constantly for the overall aesthetic of the piece. And I think that's really important that people understand that they get to make those kinds of decisions. And that if something looks better a certain way, but it's not necessarily depicted accurately, if it looks better to you,
Then do it.
Then it's up to you as the artist. Yep, to do that. You can do that. You have permission.
Yep.
Not from me. I can't give you permission. You have to get it from yourself. But it's not against the law, so you can do it.
No, that is a very good reminder. So I'm just shaping, trying to make sure it's in the direction. And drag this down more. See, when I use the tip, I do get some blobs. I think I'm going to use some denatured alcohol there to pull up the graphite. So before it goes any further, I gotta move this over here. And this is a case of do what I say, not what I do. I highly recommend wearing gloves if you have them. And do not go around sniffing your denatured alcohol.
Looks like you have a jar of moonshine.
It does. Moonshine actually would kind of work too. That stuff's pretty potent.
I bet
Never had it.
that old-timey pyrographers probably used moonshine. Although they probably drank it.
Well, they add denatured alcohol as alcohol with some pretty harsh and nasty chemicals added to it. One, in order to not be taxed like drinking alcohol.
Oh, so basically make it undrinkable.
Yes.
So that... Huh.
Now this wood is going darker than my varnish will.
Well,
And that's okay. But this also will allow me to see, because my paper towel is really wet right now. Trying to avoid areas that I have not burned yet. See, that's pretty wet. Let it dry.
was that because of Prohibition?
Yes, I believe so. Well, just I'm trying to remember. It's been a while since I've
But they still do it, though.
Yes, because it has because this is also used as fuel, and they don't want people drinking it. The stuff that's in it's really nasty.
Interesting.
Like death and blindness.
Right. I've always heard that it could make you go blind. Well, that's the joke about drinking moonshine.
Totally can actually do that. Alrighty. Don't think I lost too much. Yeah, my board got really wet with that. When I varnish, it is not going to get that wet.
How long does it take to evaporate?
It depends on how wet you make the board. If it's cool to the touch, if it's cold to the touch, it is still wet. If it feels like the rest of the board, especially if you haven't done the rest of the board, then you're good.
So if it's still cool to the touch and you're using like a torch, it's probably
just wait. Just wait.
Not a good time to hit it with the torch.
No. Just wait.
So everything will get a lot darker quick.
Yeah, especially areas you didn't want to.
Woof. Oh, God.
Yep, we would have a vacation situation. So I should have lightened that graphite in there. See, it's easier if I drag because now I got these blobs, the dreaded blobs in there. Let's see here. Do I need? I am going to step away from this side. Give it a minute to set off camera. And I'll make some choices. Because you got to remember when I'm doing this on camera, I'm like, I'm just going. And sometimes it's better to step away before you make any final decisions. Let's see here. Kind of gone a little too dark. I'm actually going to bump back down to 2 so that I'm not getting so even though I burned in that area, it still burned darker with just the tip. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to get a little bit more depth without going really dark. So this goes in this direction. I am just using the tip, but I lowered my temperature. Now I'll drag in this direction.
Kathy's buffering. It's
Are
her.
we buff? Okay.
No, it's her. She's gonna head inside to see if it's better.
All right.
No, we haven't buffered in a very long time. I know.
Knock on wood. Now you gone and said it, didn't you? Now you gone and said it. So I'm just trying to get the little darks that are in between without being stringy. Trying to get some of the direction. I'm flat, just filling in some of the darker groups. Just so we can get some shine in there. See, I went darker in some of these areas than I wanted. So, fill some of that in so it feels softer. Remember, if we see a lot of detail versus groups is going to look more stringy. I probably should take a moment to, I'm going to go full 2, put some shading in his face. Because I'm flat, it's the shading matters. That green is really standing out right there. Touch down in a dark area. I'll keep my pin there as I'm trying to decide where I want to go.
Yeah, it's Kathy. It's just you, unfortunately. And everybody else is fine.
Let's see if I overdid it. Because I do need more shading on his face. But is he looking like Ezra?
He does. It looks amazing.
The shadowing, once I put that in there, that will also change the hair and lighten it up.
Yeah, that's true.
So I have to keep that in mind as well. Also his eyebrows. Those are a darker tonal value, even though he's a blonde. So that tells me
This is gonna actually end up giving it a lot more depth once you add the shading in.
so you didn't do. I'm using the edge. I'm barely touching down because he is not wearing any brow makeup. So we don't want it harsh.
He's not wearing what makeup?
Brow makeup. Meaning his brows.
Oh, brow makeup. Okay.
It's a girl thing. It's the people who wear makeup thing.
I heard brown.
Oh.
Like, he's wearing brown makeup.
And right here on this eyebrow, because it goes back, it is actually going to be darker. Alright. You know what I'm going to do? I am going to take a moment to lighten up that shadow, or darken up that shadow, so we can see what happens with the light in real time.
Okay.
So I'm going to darken up this area right here of his eye. Put that shadow in. I've bumped down to 1.5 so that I can have a little bit more control. And we're going to see in real time what the darks do for the lights and why they're so important.
Okay.
Just give me a minute.
All the doggies are asleep.
Yay.
Just let you know, we're coming up on an hour.
Okay. I just want to show in real time what the darks really do.
Okay.
Why I harp on them so much. Why they really matter.
It's an odd turn of phrase, but it's so common.
What's that?
Harping on something. And, like, it's a phrase that I've heard all throughout my life. And I know what it means. But I've never considered, like, how it came about. Do harpists, are they, like,
It's not
super
that,
insistent?
No, it's not that kind
Are
of
they
harp.
like, ring, ring, listen to my harp?
No,
No?
it's not that kind of harp.
There's harp seals.
No. Think about the time frame. About when this would have come out. What are women called?
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Women.
Women. The women.
They're just called women.
No. No.
Oh, it's a Greek thing.
Okay. Who said that?
Huh?
Who said that?
Me.
Oh. Well, then it's not necessarily right. Sorry.
Hey! Give me a little benefit of the doubt there. All right.
I'm trying to darken. I'm slowly.
Andrea says, "Thanks, Val. I was always wondering how to get the bumper on the eye. Apparently, you just showed her.
Oh.
Good deal.
Good. I'm flat, and I'm just going. And see now.
So we have somebody new. Apple Mose.
No, Apple Mose has been here.
Art and photography. Oh.
Hello, Apple Mose.
It says hi there.
Spence, yes. Yep. Spence said it.
Apple Mose, you're coming in kind of at the tail end of the stream, but thanks for being here.
All right. So do we see just a little bit? I mean, I've got to put the rest of the shadow in, but do we see how much that lightened around the hair when I started darkening?
Yeah.
Did I get it?
So in ancient Greece, did harpies play the harp?
Mm-mm. No.
How did they get associated with that?
Harpies.
It hurts my brain. What's the connection between harp and
No, you're
harpies?
going away. You're going away. That's not what it's about. It's not what it's about.
We're good, Apple Mose. Thank you.
I need to shoot this right here.
But what if there was a band of harpists?
You are on the whole wrong
called
thing.
themselves the harpies.
You are on
Do you think that
the
there
wrong
was
thing. Wrong thing.
ever
wrong
an
thing.
ancient Greek band called the harpies that played harps?
Oh, I'm sure.
That would
That's
be,
not what
that
it's
would
about.
be amazing.
That's not what it's about.
They're
You
like,
may have never
they're
used
like,
the term.
hello, Athens. We're the harpies.
You haven't probably, because it's not the type of person you are. You have probably never used the term to call a woman that.
I have never used that term. No. I've heard it used, but I've never agreed with it. And I think the people that have used it, it's mostly in literature. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say it in person.
Really?
Yeah. How fortunate
You're
for
lucky.
me.
You are lucky. Alrighty.
But I grew
So,
up in Alaska and there was only
you did.
5 people around me, so.
His shadow still needs to go darker. Let me back this up more so we can get it right. So his shadow on his face still needs to get darker, but do you see how I use the shadow to negatively burn that really light part that's right along? I still need to break it up because it's a little long right here, but we can see just by darkening it a little bit, it lightened the hair. The hair does not look as dark as it did before I started putting the shadows in on the face. Let's see, I can get some more graphite off. Child, your nails or dragon claws are digging into me. I love you too, but you hurt. You hurt. We need to clip your nails. So bad. Let's see here. My paper towel should still be wet. Okay. That hurt. Should still be wet on the inside. See? So we are going to do... This is closer to what the varnish will do to the wood. Actually, it's a little on the light side. It's a little on the light side. But I do feel I need to... There'll be more detail on her hair and smoothing out. But, try and get the camera out of my face. Let you guys see what's going on. And let the lighting be a little closer to what it is. I mean, it's not as...
Do you know what this reminds me of?
What?
Do you remember in the 80s, in the beginning of Family Ties?
Yes. Yes.
That's what this reminds me of. I hear the music.
I am going to have to do some more research. That sounds really cool, Spence. I'm going to have to... There it is.
Huh.
That sounds right. But then they started getting a negative term. Just like
But
They fall in with Medusa and no, your claws, thank you. Medusa and that group
so
is a negative.
so they were part of the bad pantheon. Of,
That's where they were put into
okay.
later, yes.
That's unfair.
Yeah. Well, they were female. And we're not going to go into the political part of this. We'll leave it alone. We will leave it alone. Do we have any questions? Next week we are going to do the background. My plan is to get half the background in. And for those who didn't see earlier, this is what I'm wanting to do for the background on this. There we go. I did this. I took the burning photo where I had stopped. I put it into Autodesk Sketchbook Pro on my tablet, which is a free app. And I used the same colors that are within the photo for the burning and started creating a background. So this is the background I want. I want it soft. I do not want any harsh light because I think if I put harsh light in, it will become too detailed and I don't want it detailed. So this is what I'm going for. That's why the circle's on the board. And basically it's going to be start with the dark and then shade in the next layer of circles and then add a lighter. The next is a lighter until there's a little bit of just light left on. I'm not going to put any white within these. I think that'll be too bright. So I'm not going to do that. But this is what I'm going to be going for next week. Is that.
Sonia says very good class, thanks.
Thank y'all.
Spence says it's looking awesome. Kathy says it does look awesome. And
I'm not hating it. Hey, I am not hating it. I feel I'm getting close. Isn't it though?
It is.
I feel I'm getting closer. It's not going to be for me until I get to the final details where I'm balancing and making sure everything goes right. But based on this block in, I'm not hating it.
You actually made so much progress today on it.
Well, that's why I wanted one half of the hair basically blocked in, so we can work on the other side and start seeing more finished of it. I mean, he's blocked in fully. I still have this little piece that's right here that I didn't block in on her, and that's because I need to switch over. So, thank you, Sheila. I got to figure out who's going to get this. I don't know if we're keeping it. I don't know if it's going to go to our son, because he's dad of the kids, or if it's going to go to my dad, because he's great-grandpa of the kids. I may make prints of this, and
he's just grandpa.
My dad is great-grandpa. He's a great.
Oh, yeah.
My dad. Because you're pop-pop. You're the grandpa. My dad is the great. Good try. You're the pop-pop. You're the grandpa. So my dad's the great-grandpa.
Let's see.
Okay.
Okay, I got it.
Okay. Yes, Spence. That's when they start going from positive to a more negative. I hope so. I think what I'll do is I will finish her. I will do some prints I'll count how many family members who might want it, and I will make some prints of it. And then one of us will get the finished burning. I don't know who. Kind of thinking my dad, but I'm not sure. Probably my dad. Yes, okay. So if we don't have any other questions, we will do the background next week, and I will have it blocked in so you can see where we are going with it.
Sounds awesome.
Hopefully that helps. Hopefully that makes it easier for you guys to visualize. I think it kind of makes it easier for me to explain. This is what I did. This is where we're going with this, So I'm hoping that makes it a little more. It makes it easier. So if we don't do a draw, put my family's name in. All right.
Haven't bid on it.
With a family game. Well, I would do that, except we live very far distances apart. But that's funny. I'll have to think about that. I'll tell them all to send me a number, and whoever guesses closest to the number, that could work. That way nobody's feelings are hurt, and everybody's going to get something anyway. We'll see. Hopefully they don't watch this and find out. Alrighty, say it with me. You know what to say. Hello. You're awesome. Oh, no. You're awesome. You can do this. Why? Because you're a pyro artist. Happy burning, guys. Bye. That was owie, Roxy. Owie. Oh,
So you wanted to
she
be
got
part
my
of the
shoulder.
end.